Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Good. Hey, Dennis.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, Dennis.
Hello.
Everyone surviving today? Hopefully.
Just raining again.
I'm building an ARC. I don't know about you guys, but I've had enough.
I know. I've got to go to Greenville today. So is it raining? Who's in Greenville?
Anybody in Greenville? I'm not. Everybody, how y'all doing?
Yep. It's raining in Greenville.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
May have to leave a little.
Everyone surviving today? Sorry, my pay no attention. Yep. We're I'm building an ARC. Sorry, that's I had the YouTube on at the same time, and it's a little bit delayed. So there you go. All right. Now, who is 12524?
That is me, I guess. This is my first time.
Oh, Jenny, how are you?
Good. I kind of was, I've been out of school for a long time, and
Well, that's true for all of us.
I got some email messages, and I was like, well, when does it start?
Yeah.
I figured it out.
Good job. Good job. Well, while we're waiting for everybody, Jenny, why don't you introduce yourself? And Jenny Johnson is new, and I'll let her introduce herself.
I'm Jenny Johnson with Jenny O's Cheese Straws. Been in business about 19, 20 years. And had to stop for a while to take care of my aging parents. So here I am. I need some rebooting. So school is where it's going to be for right now. So
Jenny, you want a kick in the butt? Is that what you mean? Reboot?
yes, thank you. That's a nice way of putting it.
Okay. All right.
Real good swift kick.
Yeah, well, I resemble that remark, believe me. So
we're good. I'm excited about the class. So thank you.
All right. Jenny also has not only been in business for 19 years, but she has a food product, a specialty food product called Jenny O's Cheese Straws, which you may be familiar with. And she is in Harris Teeter, Lowe's, Food Lion, all kinds of stuff. So she may be helpful to those of you who are interested in that sort of thing. So it's something to keep in mind too. All right. Well, let's see. So right now it's a little bit after 1, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. We may end up having more people join us, and that's okay. I'll try to keep up with that. Let's see if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I don't see Brady, so God help us if I need any help. But anyway, we'll give it a try. So today we're going to talk about social media and a little bit of how to use it. Some of you are probably more advanced than this, and others of you are not. So bear with me. Please don't hesitate to add anything or ask any questions along the way. With that, I'll attempt to share my screen, and hopefully it will work. All right. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about social media, and this is an attempt to maybe make it a little more organized. And this presentation, of course, is available to you as well. So don't sweat it too much if you don't keep up. Okay, so social media. Supposedly 73% of marketers say social media is effective for their business. I don't know who the other 20%-ish or so are, but I think they should probably be included. I think most people would say this number is north of 90%. So really what it's about, the way I'm going to talk about it here, is establishing a brand on social media. We've talked a lot about branding over time, and this is a little more focused on social media, and you'll hear what some of the ideas are about your brand. The other thing is, I'm very aware that social media can take a lot of time, which all of you are very short on. So we're going to talk about that. But the main thing I want to emphasize with that is you really have to be effective with your social media. It isn't like your personal social media where you might spend a lot more time than you really admit. In the business side, it has to be focused and effective. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to a concept here that we're going to be talking more about. It's kind of weird, I'll warn you, but it's the concept of buyer personas. And what buyer personas are mythical or fictional characters that represent your ideal customer. And there are numerous examples of this, and we're going to go through how you find these examples in a second. But this is a real common technique used by large e-commerce operations. This idea of buyer personas helps you sharpen your message to a particular type of customer, not just generically, but specifically. And social media allows you to talk directly to certain audiences, which is a little bit different than mass media, such as running a radio ad or a TV ad, or even an email you can somewhat customize. Okay, please, everybody, please mute your microphone. Hello. Please mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay, so this idea of picking people who represent your ideal customer, we're going to go into a little more detail on. Okay, so these are strategies to find these buyer personas, if you will. So the first thing is, what are the characteristics of your ideal customer? Someone who wants to use your product or service. Some of these are pretty normal: age, income, education level, etc., gender, occupation. Once you kind of have a list of this, and you may already have done this, go through your friends list on your own social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever, and find people who match up to this list. Okay, so you've created this list of who you consider a target of your business or service. So go through your own social media and see if you can't pick out some people that meet that criteria. As you look at these, even if you know these people well, look at their profile, look and see, if you have things in common with them. Is there a TV show or movie genre that everyone seems to like? Do they all post about similar things? Take as many notes as you can that characterize this persona, this person, even if it's someone that you know, or even if it's someone you only know through Facebook or whatever, and you've never actually met them. But try to take a good look at who they are and some of these common interests that will help you. Strategy number 2, go to Facebook groups. And I realize Facebook isn't for everyone, that's okay, but this is a pretty good example. So there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. In this example here, we're talking about young moms. So find a Facebook group for young moms, and you're bound to find one that fits your target audience. And there's a search on Facebook for these groups, by the way. Some are secret and private, some are public, but you can find them. Look at how people in the group communicate. What words do they use? What tone of voice is a little odd for something there is no voice, but you kind of know what I'm talking about. Are they aggressive? Are they funny? Do they have a sense of humor, or drama queens or whatever? And what kinds of posts do these people post, right? Do they post videos, inspirational quotes, stupid ones you've seen 1,000 times? Get a sense of who these people are and what they're posting. And also look through there and see if there's any mention of the problem that you're trying to solve. If you go back to the beginning, we talked about a business really is about solving a problem that a group of people have, whatever that problem might be. So using the search tool and the search keywords will help you go through this kind of market research. And it won't take you that long, but it'd be really helpful. This is an important one here. That's why I made it big letters and so forth. Strategy 3. Go to the Facebook and social media pages of your competitors, or even people that you may not see as a competitor, but maybe you see them as tangential to what you do or related or kind of sort of like what you do. See if any of your friends follow these pages. Take notes of who they are. Browse through these followers, through the competitors' followers, and just take a look at some of the profiles. And like you did with the Facebook groups, kind of see how they communicate. What type of post seems to have the most likes or the most shares? And also how people describe their problems on the page. Once you have a feel for who your target audience is, you can be a lot more efficient in how you reach them and what you say to them. So you won't be in a situation where you're guessing all the time. What should I do? What should I post? What should I talk about? This kind of research will help you narrow down the choices you make for posting on social media. This is also important. We talked about this before about creating content for your site. And social media is just one of the type of contents that are out there. Here I've listed just some, and there's probably more, but blogs, written word, these might be, could be press releases, could be stories that you write, could be somebody that wrote a story about you and you can post it. Photos, including videos that feature live streaming. And some of you are aware of this. We talked about it, but you notice that this is increasing on the social media. You're seeing live streaming, not only actual live streaming, but videos of when they did live streaming. So even though they're not live at the moment, you can see what they were doing when they did live stream. Podcasts, some of you may not be as familiar with that. This is a relatively new thing. You can get podcasts off Spotify or Apple Music, a number of other places. And there's also a lot of industry specific and issue type podcasts that could be exactly what you're trying to do. And you can try to become a guest on a podcast. You can be a guest speaker, or you can have that podcast person come on your podcast if you decide to start one and talk about your business. Polls and quizzes. I'm not a huge fan of those. I think polls once in a while are helpful if you need to, hey, do you like my packaging? Do you like, where would you like to see this available? Would you like to see it at, at your store or whatever? But quizzes and all that kind of thing, that skews a little bit younger. A younger audience will engage with stuff like quizzes and polls and even games that you might create. Infographics, you've all seen those. These are the fancy graphics that have text on them that serve to communicate a concept or a trend. Like, I started off this presentation saying that 73% of marketers feel that social media is helpful. That could be a fancy graphic somewhere with a picture of a chart or an arrow or something. And that's an example of an infographic. White papers and ebooks are a little bit different. And some of you may have really deep expertise in your field. It might be growing something like pecans or some aspect of your business. And you could be, a white paper is really nothing more than an abbreviated book or an article. It's something that talks about a specific subject somewhat authoritatively, and you usually include references when you do those things, but it might be a white paper about, like I said, growing pecan trees in North Carolina. I'm just making that up. And ebooks are the same sort of thing. Ebooks are more multi-page. White paper might only be a couple pages long. An ebook could be 100 pages long. It's essentially a book, and it's done in some kind of format that's available online. They call them ebooks, and there are lots of different formats for it. You may be familiar with PDFs, for example, but there are lots of different ways to publish this kind of thing. What happens when you do this stuff or have someone do it for you is it ultimately builds your audience. It's all different techniques to engage with people that you've identified would be somewhat interested in your business, your product or service. So the thinking is by creating this content on a regular basis, not just pictures on Facebook, but some of this other stuff as well, you start to build a brand story. And we've talked about brand story before. What is your brand story? What's the history of your brand? What is it all about? These are all methods to build that audience. And even though it seems like it doesn't really work, it actually does work, but you really got to keep at it. And for a lot longer than you might think in order to kind of break through. Again, not everybody has time to explore all of this. So generally what I like to say is pick a couple of these types of content to focus on that you think your audience would focus on. And you don't have to do them all, but just be aware that there are a number of choices in this space. Any questions or thoughts at this point by anybody? Has anybody tried a blog? Is that something that anybody has done?
I have not.
I haven't, but I want to. I just don't know where to start.
Okay. Well, we can help you with that. Okay. It's funny because over time, a lot of this stuff has kind of changed in character, right? Like originally, a blog was like a lot of work, right? It's kind of like creating a magazine or something. And now there are blogs that are really short, can be just a few sentences, can even be pictures or a video. So the form of the content is changing as time goes on. Just be aware of that. Okay, so the other thing is, which social media should you be active on, right? The best thing to do if you go through this process of identifying your ideal customer and understanding kind of how they do things, how they post, how they consume content is a nice fancy word. But you want to figure out which social media meets that criteria. For some people, it might be Instagram. For others, it's Facebook. There's Twitter, TikTok. It goes on and on. But you can pick a couple of platforms that lend themselves to what it is you're trying to do. That's a good idea. You don't have to do everything, but you should do a couple things and do them well. I think that understanding your target market will really help you pick which media you should be on. If everyone uses Facebook, or everyone that you've identified as your prospect, then obviously you want to be on Facebook. That's pretty self-evident. But some of these other things may not be quite as clear, particularly things like TikTok and some of the video platforms that are emerging. That's kind of a different animal. The other thing is, some of you have talked to me about wanting to increase your wholesale business as opposed to your retail business. So that's an example where you might want to use LinkedIn, for example, to promote wholesale business as opposed to retail. And Facebook might be better for what I'll call direct to consumer. So the synthesis here is pick a couple of platforms to start with, and just see how it goes. Don't be caught up with I have to be everywhere, because you really don't have to be everywhere. Where you want to be is a place where your customers and prospects can be engaged, and figuring out shouldn't be too difficult to figure out who that is, which platform works the best. Speaking of which, has anybody here done Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or Twitter, any of that kind of stuff?
We did a Facebook ad, two of those, one for the tree nursery and one for just letting them know we had fresh pecans.
How'd that go?
So, it was good. We got some feedback and also sales on the trees.
Wow.
So that I'd never tried that before, and I just decided one day I would, and it was not that expensive.
Yeah.
So you could spend as much as you wanted or as little, but that was a first try for me.
Are you still doing it on a regular basis, or you just
No,
tried
I did it within, now's when we're planting trees. and when's the best time for people to buy them and put them in the ground. So we ran it for a little bit over a month, which is
Okay.
January, February, which is that crucial time to get them in the ground.
Got it.
So, and then we may try it again, but I thought it was successful.
Fantastic.
I do a lot of Facebook and Instagram, but I do
Okay.
more of the Facebook ads during our season because we're a produce farm. So just new things coming out, or we have a corn in the fall. We do a lot during our corn maze and fall season.
Okay, that's an
And it works.
agritourism thing, right? Where people come
Yes.
and do the maze. Okay.
Yeah, and it works really well. I mean, I'm not sure about how the platforms are going or all this mess that's going on in the news with them. So that's my worry, is some people are getting off the platforms.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question, Dennis,
Sure. Yeah.
about the Instagram. I've got I've never used it, and I've got a connection, but I just don't get it.
Well, the main
Why
thing,
is it a younger, I mean,
if I had to say generally, yes, but the difference is it's a visual platform. It's a picture and video platform, as opposed to Facebook, where there's a lot of text, a lot of explanation, a lot of,
right.
so I think if you did the research, you'd probably find it skews younger than Facebook.
Yeah.
But I also, on Instagram, a lot of my friends who are photographers,
Mhm.
that's where they are,
Okay.
or even the video people that I know. So, and generally what I've seen in my experience, my people that I kind of keep up with, they tend to do Instagram and Facebook. And there is such a way that you can post to both at the same time, which a lot of people do.
Mhm.
So that way you don't have to really manage them individually. You can, particularly if you're a big photo person or a video person, they tend to, more often than not, you'll see them use those two together, has been my experience. Would you all agree with me?
That's what I have done. And I notice I do have some people, I would say I've noticed people in their 30s, maybe late 20s, early 30s, use Instagram and they don't do Facebook. So I am able to do a post, and there are some people that say you shouldn't do the same post on both, but it's easier for me just to do both to catch my clients that are on both platforms.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect example of what I started off this presentation of, and that is, where are your customers? Who are they? What are they? Where are they at? And you've discovered in your case that they're on Instagram and Facebook. So, even though they made, the form of the post will look different on Instagram than on Facebook, you're still reaching people that you've identified as customers and prospects. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's an effective strategy, even if you're not doing it perfect, right? Even if it's not absolutely
right
everything you'd want, you're at least doing it. And we'll talk a little bit about tools on how to do that in a second. Has anybody here done much with Pinterest or TikTok at all?
I have Pinterest for my personal, but I haven't tried it with my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't either.
I use TikTok for a couple of things. One, what I'm doing is kind of never been done before. So I wanted to get a kind of a vision of what a national market would look like. The first video I put out has over 80,000 views and about 7,000 comments. And the second one I put out has like 55,000 views and about the same with comments. And thankfully about 98% of them, 99% were positive, and also trying to give me ideas. And it also gave me another base, because they were like, well, there's not one here. If you need somebody, let me know. And some of these people were mechanics, so that surprised me. But I did that more to get a national view of what I was doing, because, Facebook, unless you run ads, it's going to be your friends and stuff, and they're going to tell you what you want to hear. So I said, well, I'm just going to go out there with TikTok's brutal. Like they just going to, they're just going to tell you what they feel, or, and so that gave me a taste of national. I don't know if anybody have ever experienced that, but it's new. So it's a pretty popular platform.
Yeah. Has anybody played around with Facebook groups at all? Like joining groups and promoting yourself to specific groups? Is that, anybody done that?
I haven't done that just 'cause we're a produce farm, so it's kind of, it's in my area because I have had it where we post stuff and people from Georgia or somebody will say, well, where are you at? I'm like, so I try to stay more local.
Right. Okay.
We are in some groups with our produce in, and we have shipped to South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. It actually, the groups have paid off for us.
That's wonderful. Well, I've talked about this group before, but there is a farm in Santa Cruz, California. It's called Dirty Girl Produce. Some of you may have heard of it. And they switched to online because of the pandemic. They for 30 years, they've sold at farmers markets in the Bay Area. That's how they've done their business. And that was shut down by the pandemic. And I just got an email from them last week. They are now shipping nationally, all 50 states using FedEx. And taking orders. Now, they don't sell every single product that they sell, but they've grouped them in such a way as the ones that lend themselves to being shipped. They are shipping all over the country, which I think is pretty cool. So, okay. I mentioned this earlier, but once you kind of figure out, and I love little terms like buyer persona, right? What the hell is that? But once you get your buyer personas lined up, or your target audience, or your customer that you've identified, and you figured out the social media platform that you're going to use, you now need to create the content, and the content really has to reflect your brand to some degree, right? You want it to be quality. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it can't be dumb looking either, right? So it's kind of something to think about. How do you get this content? The middle sentence here is the number one reason social media strategies fail is because you stop producing content. If you go on, even on your site or on your Facebook groups or any of your competitors, you'll see some that haven't posted in a month, or some that haven't posted since before Christmas. And there's no way those folks are going to build an audience by posting so infrequently. And when they do post, no one's going to pay attention because they've gotten out of the habit of checking with them and looking them up. So I think consistency is important, even if it's not that much, just a post a day or something. The proof is, well, if you're growing your audience and the engagement, then you're doing it right. If that's not happening, you got to take a look at what you're doing. And in most cases, it's not enough posting of relevant content.
Dennis,
yeah.
Can I ask a question there? You said
Yeah.
even if you're not doing it that much, just to post a day. Now, to me, a guy like I don't really do much of anything on social media. Neither does my wife, and we just kind of completely neglect it as a business, which hopefully will change this year. But that strikes me as an awful lot, once a day.
Well, the thing to do is look at your people in your space, or people that you might look up to and think do a good job, even if they're not direct competitors. Maybe it's somebody in another state or that's in your business or a related business. And I have found almost without fail that some sort of regular posting, if it's not every day, it's 3 times a week, or some sort of process to keep people engaged. Remember, this is people with a very short attention span. They don't read anything. They don't dig into anything. So you got to take the content to them, or they're going to forget about you. So whatever your pace makes sense for your business. One of the things that we're going to be talking to you about, and this is intended to be foundational for this conversation, but we're going to be talking about selling live on Facebook and selling live on Instagram. It has to be part of your strategy. And when we get to that, you're going to be blown away by the numbers that people are achieving selling their products live on Facebook and Instagram. You are not going to believe some of the stories of research that I'll show you of what people are doing. And a lot of them are in remote rural communities. I'll just tell you one story. I promise not to go on and on, but there are 3 grandmothers that are in northern Minnesota. I don't even know the name of the town. It's nowhere near civilization. I'm amazed they even have internet. They are quilters. They go live on Facebook 3 times a week, the same time every day, 7 o'clock. So it's essentially a show that is scheduled, and tens of thousands of people tune in and buy the quilts. They've done as much as $1 million in sale in a month from their Facebook Live. So it's out there, and we're going to be talking about it. And I want you all to get comfortable with these different platforms. It's not just about posting. It's also about engaging and actually selling using these channels. You know, there's lots of channels out there, and Facebook and Instagram and some of these other platforms, TikTok, you can actually sell on those platforms. And we're going to show you how to do that and why that might be a good idea. And it doesn't cost much money at all to do that, which is a great
Hey, Dennis.
thing. Yeah.
I just want to add one thing to Zach's comment is I've seen several things trying to promote you on social media is just that daily, you know, trying to put something out there and stay on the forefront. But there are some, you mentioned some tools to post to Facebook and Instagram simultaneously.
Right.
Facebook pages, or they have an app now called Business. I think it's called Business Manager.
Yeah.
I recall, which is free, just tool to use. And you can schedule posts. So I can sit down on a Sunday evening with my content and schedule all 7 posts for the week and spend a half an hour on it. And they go out when I've asked, you know, told them to at what times and things like that. So there is some ways to condense some of the work if we're willing to, you know, put the work on our calendar.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you about Buffer. Some of you may be familiar with that. We use Buffer at this organization. And so we post to LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. It's free. It's a free service, and it can post. You can schedule, I believe, up to a year in advance. So you can schedule very granularly when you want those posts to go, and it's all automatic. It's really cool. The free version, I think you can only have 10 posts lined up. So that's, say, 10 days. If you do the paid version, which is pretty cheap, I want to say it's $15 a month or something like that. I believe you can do a lot longer. I think you can do 30 days or 60 days or whatever. So we're big believers in that. And it's great when you don't have a lot of people to use tools like that. And there are a number, Hootsuite's another. There are tons of services like that. Almost every software platform that you might want to try, they almost all have free versions that you can try and see if it works for you.
Hey, Dennis,
Yeah.
just real quick. You know, I've spent quite a bit of time running Facebook ads, and I'm by no means an expert. One of my problems, I'm a perfectionist. So when I was making videos and things like that, I was spending really an unreasonable amount of time making videos to post on Facebook and other platforms. And one of the things that I learned through that process was that, at least for my followers and my target audience, what they really want is authenticity. And, you know, they want it to be, it doesn't need to sound commercialized. They want to connect with whoever that person is behind the scenes.
Right.
And some of the videos that took me 15 seconds to make were the most successful. You know, so Zach, like you were talking, and I mean, I can just imagine, like in your business, like if you're just dipping strawberries one day and take a quick video and throw it up there, you know, that's golden. That's what people want to see. And you don't have to spend a lot of time and money on it. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
Good.
I have to agree with Tom. I had a experience where not only was I a perfectionist, but I was waiting for a milestone. I was waiting for myself to do something like, you know, major, and then go out there and say. So I've been trying to correct that. Unfortunately, I don't have a product that I could sell. People have to come to me. So that's an even harder situation for me. So what I started doing was I switched to like infomercials. I'm telling people more how to use my product, why it's out there, my machine, and that type of deal. So, and one of the most successful videos I had, I was actually sitting in my house in my t-shirt doing a take, so to speak. And I thought, well, that's pretty good. But, I had a t-shirt on, my hair was all crazy. I said, I'm going to put this up here anyway. And that's the one that engaged with, and that's what kind of made me go, you know what? It is true. This authenticity is the route that people want to see, because now people are at home all day, and stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to put that. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
this,
go ahead.
this is Natalie.
Hey, Natalie.
Being new in the crawfish business, and we have experienced so many people that don't know a lot about crawfish and how they grow and how we harvest, and even right on down to how to cook them. So what we've been trying to do on our Facebook page is show them that process.
Yeah.
So all through the year, we're showing what the crawfish eggs look like and now they've hatched, and like you said, almost let them see where their food is coming from and that whole farming experience, but through their computer. So that's been a little bit positive for us, because it's really got folks intrigued with what we're doing, and we get a lot of questions from that.
Yeah, I like that, and that's an example. So you've identified that your prospects want education, information. So then you pick, okay, well, you've got Facebook, but you can also post those Facebook videos to your YouTube channel, right? So you can have both at the same time. And YouTube is a great place for education. A lot of people go to YouTube to learn how to do something. So that's just a perfect example of finding the right channel for your particular situation. So good stuff.
Hey, Dennis, this is Jamal.
Yeah.
Hey, just going back on to what Tom was talking about. That's something in the platform that, as you know, that like I'm trying to create, is to where someone can almost like what I call an advertisement, advertise their own commercial that takes 15, 20 seconds, and then they can do it from their home. And then the people that's interested into what they're looking for actually finds them in what they recorded at home in 15, 20 seconds, that strawberry being dipped. That goes out to all consumers that's looking at buying strawberries from the farmer's market. So that's the kind of platform, our target market. And this is the kind of platform that is a market with small businesses that can from home take 15, 20 and make their own personal commercial, and it gets out to the consumer. So that's the platform that I'm trying to create. So you don't have to go to a Facebook, and you don't have to go to an Instagram and do those things. So just kind of seeing, like, that's where, people are wanting to be able to not, because I understand the going live concept, but to me, that's going to take a lot of time to be able to do. And I don't necessarily know like how the buying goes going live, like can they watch the video later or not? But that's the process that I'm trying to create, is somewhere to where small businesses can leave their personal videos as commercials and it reach their consumers.
Fantastic. Well, you think I would have paid Jamal for my intro to this slide, but where I'm at right now is the easiest way to create content is actually videos. Okay. And Jamal's solution is going to go a long way toward making that even easier. But at a foundational level, almost everyone on this call has a phone with a camera. And in almost all cases, you can take a high quality video with that camera. And when you make videos, you can do a lot of different things with them, like Jamal was just alluding to. You can make longer ones that go on YouTube, might be educational in nature. You can have short videos that go on Instagram or even on TikTok. And you can put them, you can post them on your website. You can post them in an email. There's lots of different ways that you can use the video. And you can hire a copywriter or a screenwriter type person to help you if you want to do a longer video and feel like you don't really have the expertise to kind of lay that out. You can have somebody help you with that. There's even tools out there that do it using artificial intelligence, which I've talked about a little bit. So you also, with video, you can kind of front end load your content. You can do a bunch of videos and then post them over time, and that will save you the effort of doing it constantly. So also, I think one thing that you can do if you run across interesting content and it's related to you and your industry, it could be from an industry association, it could be from even from a competitor. You might, in some cases, reach out to them and see if you can use the video or the content that they posted. Do they allow that for you to post it on your social media? That's a really good way to cross post with people who share traffic, and the subject is hopefully everyone is aligned with the subject that's being presented. Okay, so sorry, here I think I went too far. Let me see if that's it. Okay, so we've alluded to this, but this idea of batching, where you create batches of social media and then you parse them out over time, whether it's using a tool or you do it manually. But the idea of creating a batch of social media is a really good time saver, particularly if you've got a story that you're working on, a brand story or an experience story or something that tells about your business. You can build that story over 6 or 7 posts and just parse that out on a regular basis, maybe twice a week or once a week or 3 times a week, whatever schedule makes sense for you. But that really saves a lot of time for you when you do it in batches. Okay. So one of the things, and somebody alluded to this already, but this idea of authenticity, I'm not sure. I think authenticity is one word, but it's also building trust with your consumers, right? When you want to build trust, you want to tell the truth. You want to show them, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is a startup. I'm trying everything. Anyone have any great ideas? Great. It goes all over the place, but it's really about building trust with your consumers. One of the strongest examples of trust to me is Amazon.com. If you buy something on Amazon, you generally have a higher degree of trust that that product is going to be okay, or that the customer service will be okay. You'll be able to return it. You can get it shipped for free. All of the things that Amazon has made as their brand promise, you trust that to be true. So in your own case, you want to build up trust for yourself, and you also want to partner with organizations that have trust, that you can benefit from the trust that they might have. If we're able to convince, example, ECU to let us take over their social media for a day, and you guys can post stuff about your businesses on the ECU social media, we would be hoping that the people trust ECU as a brand, and that we would benefit by reaching that audience with our content. So the whole idea of trust, building authenticity, this idea of, especially in the case of farmers, people seeing where it actually comes from really does make a difference to a large segment of the population. They want to know where that stuff comes from. So I want to show one example for you that I'm going to stop the share here for 1 second. I'm going to try something here. Bear with me for a second.
Okay. We can go.
Be right with you. Hang on there for a second. Okay, so somebody said that they were interested in blogging and didn't really know how to get started on that. So I'm going to show you what I do, how I do it, live blogging. And that is an organization or a website called Medium, medium.com. Medium is set up for blogging, if you will. You can embed it into your website. You can use it lots of different ways. Let's see here. Get these little things off. Can you all see my screen okay? So I want to show you something that I think you'll find interesting. So this is a farmer in rural China. See if I can get it to come up. Okay, doesn't seem to want to for some reason. Oh, there we go. Can you all see this okay?
Yes.
这是苹果嘛，已经是树上熟了，但是现在像这种果子是不能邮寄的，树上熟的是不可以邮寄的。太甜了。
Okay, so just to give you an idea what's going on there, that's a farmer who grows mangoes in China in a rural area. And let's see. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Okay. First day with a new computer, I guess, right? Hold on here. Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully, okay. That guy is a farmer in rural China. He started showing people his mangoes that he grows. He started selling the mangoes directly from that live stream. So you can see where the mango came from and how authentic it is. The reporter asked him, how has it been for him to do this, to harvest his mangoes and sell it? He told the reporter that 2 years before, he rode a bicycle around his town, and now he drives a 7 Series BMW. So the point is, this guy is authentic. I mean, he's spitting out the skin as he bites into it. It's quite authentic. He grows them and he sells them, and he sells a lot of mangoes. I got one other I want to show you because this one is just insane to me. Let's see if it'll play. Okay, so that guy is harvesting lobsters live on TV, on his e-commerce, and sells an incredible amount of lobsters from his live stream. So I just wanted to share those with you. Number one, Medium is a place where you can do blogs. They have a free version and they have a paid version, the different benefits, but you can post a lot of stuff and you can embed it on your website. You can post the links on your Facebook and do a lot of things with medium.com. But I think that what I'm trying to do is build a foundation for you guys to take a look at using all of these channels, not only for promotion, but also for sales, direct sales that I think will surprise you. And you were exposed a little bit to the Amazon Explorer program last week. Many of you have reached out to Amazon or talking to them. And I encourage everyone to at least reach out. If nothing more, you'll have a good contact at Amazon. When you're ready to go on Amazon, you'll have somebody you can call and talk to and can guide you to getting on that platform if you decide you want to do that. That's really all I have for today. If anybody has any questions or thoughts, please fire away.
Dennis, I have a question. Since I'm new on the program, do you or the group assist with helping get on medium.com and help?
Sure, I'll be glad to help you. It's no big deal. Anybody, we have a team of interns and none of them are on today. I must have been something I said to them, but we have Brady and Marco and Randy. They'll help you do anything, and if they can't, then I will. And so yeah.
Well, thanks. Okay, I just was, this is where I go completely. Either I'm on Facebook, but I only get on there and screw up because I don't even know that I had posted myself the other day. I think it was a pocket post. And I got 1,000 hits or whatever. I'm kidding, but I had no idea what I was doing. It was one of those situations. So I just need to be really trained.
Yeah, we're happy to help. We're
Yeah,
happy
okay.
to help.
Thank you.
Remember, one of the most successful ad campaigns of all time was a guy named Crazy Eddie. Any of you all remember Crazy Eddie from New York City?
No, I don't.
His prices are insane.
Yeah, he was selling audio equipment. Is that right? I think music stuff, and
Yes.
he was just out of his mind. I mean, he would scream and yell. It turned out he was a criminal, and he had a gigantic Ponzi scheme where he made like $150 million. I don't even know if he ever got caught, but it's this wild story. And it was just stream of consciousness. He would come on, I'm Crazy Eddie, I'm just giving this stuff away. And it was unscripted and totally insane and worked really, really well. So, but anyway, anyone who has any question or thought on some of this stuff and how we can help, just reach out. We're happy to do it.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? Okay. Well, just a couple of things I want to point out before we go. Let's see. Tomorrow, we're going to have the second half of the business model canvas. I know many of you found that helpful. The first one is on YouTube or wherever the hell Brady put it, and you can see that if you want to catch up. But I highly recommend listening in to that tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we have a really unique opportunity. We have a guest speaker. His name is Andy Galinsky. He's a friend of mine. He was the executive at Clorox who bought Burt's Bees for $1 billion. Okay. He then went to S.C. Johnson, and at S.C. Johnson, he was responsible for buying small startups that S.C. Johnson ended up buying. So he's got some great stories. He's a PhD research chemist, but his love is marketing and startups and small business. He has a lot of information about if you have a product that you want to get on the shelf or packaging, he's your guy. He's a mentor on our program also. You can reach him that way. But I think you'll really enjoy him. And then Thursday, some of you know Warren Allen. So we're now going to start talking about advertising and how do you do that? How do you do it right? So you have some idea what you're doing and some way to measure the outcomes. And Warren is very successful. He's a Google expert. So he's going to be talking about Google AdWords and something you may have heard, SEO, which is search engine optimization. He's one of the top guys around. He's been doing it since he was in diapers, I think, because he's still pretty young. But he really is, he's a great resource. He actually does work for a number of companies that were in our first cohort. So Simple and Sentimental, some of those folks use him, and we can provide a reference about how successful he has been helping them with their advertising on Google. So that's what this week looks like. So the business model canvas tomorrow, the second part of that, and then Andy Galinsky from S.C. Johnson and Burt's Bees, and then Warren Allen on Google on Thursday. And that's our week. So I hope everyone can tune in. And unless anybody has anything, that's it for me. Okay. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Dennis.
See you later.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.